welcome. I am Ali Grigorovich. This is Ali Grigorovich Yoga, and today I'm going to be guiding you through a short, all levels, well-rounded, just everyday, gentle flow for the body. We'll hit all the major areas. I hope you feel wonderful afterwards. If we haven't practiced together before, I do recommend the use of blocks if you have any at home. If you don't, that's okay. You can always do this without blocks. I'm going to be demonstrating using the blocks where I can. Just know that you can always not use blocks if you don't have them, or if you choose that you like it better without the blocks. We don't need to use them. They're just an option. That's all that we need for today. And with that being said, we're going to start out just like this in a simple seat, Sukhasana, just shins crossed in the middle. You can always sit up on a blanket if you have a blanket at home, or you can sit up on a block if you wanted to do that as well. Just elevating the hips a little bit higher. Sometimes that feels nice. And then just take a moment here to just settle yourself. So feeling both sitting bones, the bottom points on the pelvis, and just rooting down and just lifting, lengthening all the way up the spine, gently reaching up through the crown of your head. So we start off with a nice long spine, and we're going to just relax shoulders down away from the ears, letting the shoulders soften. Shoulder blades just gently slide in just a little bit here. And then maybe we close our eyes or just soften the gaze and begin to turn your awareness inward. Noticing anything that's coming up for you today, right now, in this moment, any sensations within your body, whatever they may be, maybe your overall energy level, any areas of tenderness or tightness, without any judgment attached. Just observe, make little notes as we flow through the different shapes today. Know that all of them are optional. If they don't feel right in your body, you can come out of them. You can take a different posture. We can modify. You can take a rest whenever you need to. And let's begin to observe our breath here. Noticing the inhale and the exhale, perhaps for the first time today, just turning the awareness to the breath. And we're going to just slowly begin to deepen the breath here, any little bit at a time, just taking each inhale in a little deeper. Maybe we allow the belly to expand out here. And then as you exhale, breathe all that air out and just feel the belly lightly drawing in. So we're taking these deep belly breaths as we inhale, filling the lungs, belly balloons out. And then as we exhale and release all that air out, just feel the belly softening back in. And then this is the flow. Just follow that wave-like pattern of the breath. Slowing the breath down, maybe each inhale a little longer. Each exhale, releasing all that air out. Beginning to quiet the mind. Notice how as we focus our awareness on the breath, the mind just begins to settle. Maybe there's a little bit more space in between the thoughts. And just encourage that space to keep growing. We can always come back to the breath whenever our mind wanders off the practice to something out of this room, off our mat. We can bring it back with the breath. Let's take one more nice deep breath here. Release it all out. And then we're going to begin to add our movement. So you can blink the eyes open, or perhaps we keep the eyes closed, and we're just going to slowly drop the chin down towards the chest. And then just begin to rock the head a little side to side. So we'll just reach the right ear over towards the right shoulder any amount. Come back down through center. We'll take left ear over towards the left shoulder any amount. And just keep going side to side here. I've been dealing with a little bit of discomfort in my neck, so you might notice I'm not going quite so far over onto that left side. You do the same. Listen to your body. Just see what feels right in the moment. Let's just go one more time, either side. And then we'll meet back in the middle. And from here, we'll just lift the chin back up parallel with the mat. And you can blink the eyes open. We're going to inhale, reach the shoulders up towards the ears. And then as we exhale, we're going to draw the shoulders down and back, squeezing the shoulder blades in. And inhaling will come forwards and up. Exhale, roll the shoulders down and back. We'll do one more of these. Just big inhale up. Exhale, roll the shoulders down and back. And then for today, we're just going to let the shoulders settle here. The next thing we're going to do is switch out the cross of the legs. So we'll bring the opposite shin in front. And I should have said this before, but know that if at any point this seat doesn't feel good, you can always stretch one or both legs out here. Or you could come to sit on a chair. If you're at home and you've got a chair, you can certainly do that. Let's resettle, find a tall spine. And then with the next inhale, we're going to reach both arms around and up, maybe coming to a nice big Y shape. Maybe the arms come a little bit closer to the ears here. And just let your shoulders settle away from the ears. We're going to take an inhale. And then on the next exhale, we're going to twist to the right, lowering both arms down. We'll pause in our twist here, take a couple of extra breaths. So just inhaling, exhaling. Maybe we find a little extra twist in the spine. We can always revolve those right ribs back a little bit more, left ribs forwards. And then on the next inhale, let's unwind, come back through center. We're going to lengthen out. And then as we exhale, we'll twist to the left, letting both arms land. Maybe we take another inhale here to lengthen. Exhale to twist, and we'll be here one more breath. Just exploring this twist in the spine. And then next inhale, we'll come back up through center. We're going to reach both arms up. Maybe we gaze up if that feels okay for the neck. And then we're going to exhale, lower the arms down, lower the gaze. And then from here, we're going to walk our hands back behind us, lean back a little bit into the palms here. And we can start just like this. This is a very passive stretch here for the shoulders. If we want to activate it, we're going to press into the palms, begin to curl the chest forwards and up, reaching the heart forwards. We can stay like this, or perhaps we shift the gaze up towards the ceiling if that feels okay for the neck. So we're curling the chest forwards and up, pressing down into the palms to lift the chest. And then let's rotate the chin back down. We're going to walk the hands forwards. Let that go. And then from here, we're going to walk the legs forwards. We'll just give the legs a little wiggle out, maybe a little side to side. And then from here, we're going to make our way into tabletop. So we'll scoot both feet over to one side. We're going to find our tabletop position. So knees under the hips, hips width distance apart, and then wrists right under the shoulders. And we're going to spread the fingers nice and wide. So we make these big star shapes with the hands. And we're going to root down into all the finger pads, root down into the knuckle pads, not just the base of the wrist where we tend to want to land most of our weight, but we're going to spread it out. And then from here, we're going to inhale and drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, and exhale, round the spine, scoop the belly button in, tuck the chin, flowing through these two shapes. So as we inhale, we're finding our back bend, belly drops. And then as we exhale, we're rounding the spine, we're scooping the belly button in, and we're pressing away from the mat. And we're just flowing back and forth here, matching our movement to our breath. Let's go 2 more cycles here. So 2 more inhales and exhales. And then we're going to find a neutral spine. So just a long spine. And from here, we're going to gaze in between the palms. I'll show you with blocks here. I'm going to move on to my blocks. You can keep hands down on the mat or come to blocks if you have them. And we're going to gaze in between the palms, take a big step forward with the right foot. So the right knee is going to come right in line over the ankle. We're in our lunge here. We're going to keep the hands down. From here, maybe we slide the left knee back a little bit, maybe heel toeing it back just a bump or two. And what that's going to do is put our knee behind the hip. We're going to get a little extra lengthening for the front of that left hip. And we can accentuate that by letting the hip settle here and just lifting the chest. Reaching the heart forward, reaching the shoulder blades back and in. And then we're going to add a little flowing movement here. So this position is going to be our inhale. So we'll take an inhale here. And then as we exhale, we're going to begin to walk the hands back and we're going to straighten into the right leg. And then as we inhale, we'll walk the hands forward. We're going to rebend. Hands could be on the mat or we're using our blocks. Exhale, walk the hands back, straightening into that right leg. And we'll inhale forwards. Exhale back any amount. We're only straightening so much as we can here. We'll inhale forwards. Now this next time, as we exhale back, we're going to pause. So straightening that right leg, we can pause here, or option, we can fold forwards over that right leg if it feels okay. And then actually a third option, if you feel like it doesn't feel good to hold the static stretch here, you can always continue to rebend into that right knee and then straighten, and you can find that flowing movement instead. Otherwise, let's take one more breath here. Just feeling that lengthening back of the right leg. And then from here, we'll begin to rebend into that right knee, planting the foot. And then from here, let's tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. So now our back knee is lifted. Hands can be to blocks or hands can be down on the mat. And then from here, we're going to step it back to plank. So we'll just step the right foot straight back. Hips are going to stay in line with the rest of the body. Belly button's going to draw in towards the spine. We'll stay here for one more breath. Just feel yourself getting really strong here. And then we're going to tap the knees down. And from here, untuck the toes. Take the knees a little bit wider. We're going to begin to sink the hips down towards the heels, coming into child's pose. And I'll just let go of the blocks here. Hands can come down to the mat. Forehead can come down to the mat. Or you could bring a block in and place the forehead on a block, like so. That's if the head doesn't meet the mat. Let's take 2 breaths here. Just letting the hips release any amount. Breathing into the back side of the body, letting everything settle. And then next inhale, we'll begin to rise up. We're going to come back up through tabletop. So bringing the knees back in underneath the hips, we can grab our blocks again if we're using the blocks. The blocks just go right underneath the palms. Wrists are still underneath the shoulders. And then gaze in between the palms. Big step up, left foot this time. So left knee right over the ankle. Hips are facing forwards. We're going to keep the hands to the blocks. We're going to just scoot the right knee back a little bit. You can be the judge here of what feels right in your body. Just a tap or two behind. We're going to let the hips settle here. Lift the chest. It's a gentle stretch for that right hip. And we can just think about letting the hips settle, curling the chest forwards and up. That's going to accentuate that stretch. We'll take one more breath here. And then from here, we'll find our flowing movement. So this is going to be our inhale, next inhale, and then exhale. We're going to walk the hands back, straighten into the left leg. Inhale will come forwards, bending into that front knee, letting the hips settle. Exhale, we'll walk the hands back, straightening into the left leg. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. And then next inhale, we'll come forwards. This time we're going to change it up. As we exhale back, we're going to straighten into the left leg and we'll hold. So either holding here, we can stay lifted, or on the next exhale, we'll fold forwards over that left leg. You can always lower the height of the blocks. I'm on the medium height now. You can always come to the lower height or take the blocks out entirely. All these options here. We're just going to breathe into that stretch. And remember, if at any point it bothers the back of the left leg, you can bend into the knee. We'll release, come forwards, and then back. And then next inhale, let's begin to rebend into that left knee. We can walk the hands forwards. We'll find our lunge. And then from here, we're going to tuck the back toe, lift the back knee. Pressing back through that right heel so that right leg is strong and active. And then we're going to press into both palms, step the left foot back, finding our plank, the top part of a push-up here. Shoulders right over the wrist. You could always tap the knees down at any point, but otherwise we'll work towards taking one more nice, slow, deep breath here. And then we're going to lower the knees down. You can set the blocks aside, and we're going to take it back to our child's pose again. So bringing the knees a little wider, maybe big toes to touch, sinking the hips down towards the heels and just letting that go. Finding the breath here. And maybe we use a block under the forehead. We're just going to release the hips any amount. Breathe into the back side of the body. And then with the next inhale, we're going to begin to rise up. We're going to press ourselves up through tabletop, but keep your hands where they are. Maybe we just release the feet apart here. And we're going to come through tabletop. Maybe we shift the hips forward, letting the hips settle, reaching the heart forwards here. You can explore this stretch. As we exhale, we're going to shift back. We're going to come back down through that child's pose. And then as we inhale, we're coming up through tabletop, and we might just stay right here and rock back to child's pose, or perhaps we come forwards any amount, let the hips lower, reach the heart forwards. And we can just flow back and forth here. So a flowing movement. It's going to be very unique to your body, what feels good for you. And just think, sort of our cat-cow movements here for the spine. We're finding a little back bend, and then we're rounding. We're just exploring it, taking a little deeper into the legs and the hips. Maybe we just go one more time here. And then we're going to meet back down in our child's pose. We'll take a breath here. Arms are overhead. Maybe we crawl the fingertips forwards any amount more. We'll see if we can straighten the arms any amount, lengthen forwards through the fingertips. And then from here, we're going to add a side stretch. We're going to begin to walk both hands over towards the right. I'm going to slide the block out of the way. We're going to keep walking over towards the right. And then we'll fold in. When we're at the edge there, when we can't go any further, we'll fold in and see if you can just breathe into that stretched left side of the ribs there, the rib cage. Breathing in, feel that nice stretch. And then let's slowly begin to walk both hands back through center. And then we're going to take both hands over to the left. And you're just going to walk the hands over as far as you can. And then refold in. See if you can keep your right hip heavy. Notice if it wants to pop up. And then let's slowly begin to walk both hands back through center. Child's pose. And we'll stay for the exhale here. Next inhale, we're going to begin to rise up. We're going to come up through tabletop. This time, though, we're going to find our downward facing dog. So tucking the toes, we're just going to begin to shift the hips up and back, finding that upside down V shape. And we can walk our dog here. You can bend one knee, bend the other, stretching out the backs of the legs, opening up. And so our downward facing dog here, we're going to come to stillness, take a moment, lengthening the hips up and back towards the wall behind you. You can always have a bend in the knees if you need to. We'll work towards straightening the legs, but it's important that we can lengthen the upper body here. So maybe a little bend in the knees. We're going to reach the hips up and back, maybe lengthen the spine any amount, maybe reaching shoulders away from the ears. Keep straightening the arms any amount, pressing the palms down. We'll just take one more breath here. And then let's put a nice bend in the knees. We're going to begin to walk the feet up towards the top of the mat, gazing forwards. Take as many steps as you need. And then at the top of the mat, we'll take an inhale. We're going to find a halfway lift. So hands will slide right up the shins. You can press into the shins, reach the crown of the head forwards. Your torso will come parallel with the mat. We're going to take an extra breath here, scooping belly button in towards the spine. And then let's exhale, fold. And you can bend into the knees. Crown of the head will come down. Next inhale, we're going to sweep the arms around and up. And then exhale, arms down by the sides. Now from here, let's take both hands to the low back. We're going to reach the hands behind, and fingertips are going to point down like we're going to stick the hands in our little back pockets here. Think about hugging your elbows in towards one another. So we're going to reach the elbows in. Think about lengthening your tailbone down, lifting your frontal hip points up. And then from here, we're going to curl the chest forwards and up any amount. Reaching the heart forward, shoulder blades back and in. Maybe we shift the gaze up, or the gaze could go forwards here. And then we'll slowly begin to upright, come back through center. We're going to bring the chin back parallel with the mat, release the arms down by the sides. And then from here, inhale, reach both arms up overhead, extended mountain. As we exhale, we're going to twist to the right, and we're just going to open the arms to a nice wide T. So we're twisting to the right. We're going to see if we can keep our hips forwards. At the same time, just reach the right ribs back, left ribs forwards. Stretch fingertip to fingertip here. So we're really lengthening out through the fingertips. Then let's inhale. We're going to unwind back through center, reach both arms up. Maybe we even gaze up. And then as we exhale, we're going to twist over to the left. Spinning to the left, opening the arms wide. And again, think about spinning those left ribs back, right ribs forwards. Lengthening through the fingertips. Next inhale, we're going to unwind, come back through center, reach both arms up. You could always gaze up if you wanted. And then as we exhale, we're going to forward fold. So bending into the knees, hinging at the hips, crown of the head down. We'll take an inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting the hands. Next inhale, we're going to sweep the arms around and up. And exhale, arms down by the sides. Now from here, we're going to bring our hands to our hips. We're starting from mountain pose, feet hips width distance apart. We're going to gaze down, take a big step back with the right foot. About 4.5 feet or so, and the right toes are going to point up towards that right corner of the mat. So we have about a 45-degree angle. Feet can be heel to heel distance apart or a little bit wider. That's going to be a little bit more stable. We can always bring the back foot forwards a little bit more if we're feeling a little wobbly as well. Hips are going to face the front of the mat. Arms reach up towards the ceiling. Our warrior one. So arms, they could be right up alongside the ears, or again, we could be in more of a Y shape if that feels better for the shoulders here. We're going to let the hips settle, bend into that front knee. Scoop belly button in towards the spine. From here, we're going to take an inhale, and then as we exhale, we're going to sweep the arms back, and we're going to straighten into that left leg, but just make sure that you don't lock that front knee. Inhale, we'll rebend, warrior one, reaching the arms up. Exhale, straighten into the left leg, sweep the arms back. Inhale, we'll rebend, let the hips settle, reach up. Exhale, back. Let's do it one more time. Inhale and exhale. Now next inhale, we're going to find our warrior one. And then from here, we're going to free our back heel up. So we're just going to rotate that back heel up towards the ceiling. We're going to come onto the ball of the foot. And then from here, we're going to take a twist to the left. So we're going to spin belly, ribs, and chest over to the left. We're going to open the left arm back. Right hand can come to that left knee. So we're going to twist the left ribs back, keep lengthening back. Let the hips settle here. Find your breath. And then from here, let's unwind. We're going to come back through center. We'll bring the hands to heart center, palms to touch. Gazing forwards, big step up, right foot. And we'll just release that out. Give the legs a little wiggle, shake it out. And then we're going to get ready to take that over to the opposite side. So we'll bring the hands to the hips. We're going to gaze down, steady into the right foot, step the left foot back, finding our warrior one. So bending into that front knee, squaring the hips forwards, We're going to want to shift that right hip back a little bit, left hip forwards. When you're feeling steady, add the arms, warrior one. And we'll just take a breath here. Maybe relax your shoulders if you notice the sides of the neck bunching up. And then we'll take one more breath. And then we're going to take an inhale. As we exhale, we're going to straighten into the right leg this time, sweep the arms back. Inhale, we rebend, warrior one. Exhale, straighten, sweep the arms back. 3 more times. You just go with your breath here. Feel the 2 movements. Just make sure we're not locking that front knee as we straighten. All right, and I think we've got one more here. So one more inhale, one more exhale, and then we'll meet in our warrior one. And from here, we're gonna do our little bit of balance work for today. So we're just gonna free up that back heel. Left heel is gonna spin up towards the ceiling. So we're in our crescent lunge. And then from here, we're gonna begin to spin to the right. So spinning the right ribs back, you can open the arms wide, and then we'll just rest the left hand on the right knee. Right arm's gonna wing back, and keep reaching back through that left heel. From here, we're gonna unwind, come back through center. We'll bring the palms to touch. And then from here, we'll just step our way back up to the top. So big step up, left foot, release the arms down, give yourself a little bit of a shake here in the legs. And then we'll find our mountain pose again, feet hips width distance apart. We're gonna inhale, reach the arms around and up. Exhale, forward fold. You can bend into the knees, hinge at the hips. We'll take an inhale to half lift, lengthen out. Exhale, fold. We're gonna plant the hands. Next inhale, sweep the arms around and up. Exhale, arms down by the sides. And then from here, we're just gonna make our way down to a seat. So we'll just walk back maybe towards the middle of the mat, begin to lower down to a seat. And then we're gonna come to a seat with the knees bent, feet planted, hips width distance apart, like so. A little 90-degree bend in the knees. And you can bring your hands lightly to the outsides of the legs. We're gonna find a tall spine to start. So lifting up through the crown of the head, lengthening the spine. And then just begin to unhinge here. So keeping the spine long, we're just gonna begin to lean back until our arms come towards straight. Belly button draws in towards the spine. You can already feel a little bit of work here. Option to free the hands. So we'll just release the hands off the knees, palms facing in. This is a lot of work right here in our boat pose. If we want to try to lift the feet up, we can try 1 foot at a time. Bring the toes to touch. Maybe we hover here, shins parallel with the mat. Maybe they're a little bit lower. Further option, maybe we alternate side to side. We can alternate. If we need to, we can always support behind the legs here with the legs lifted, or even have the arms behind us. Let's take 2 more breaths. In our boat pose, you certainly can straighten the legs as well if you want to straighten the legs and take your full boat. And then let's lower the feet down, wrap the arms around the legs, just tuck the chin, let that all go. And then from here, we'll begin to help ourselves down onto our backs. Make sure that you have anything that you like for Shavasana handy, because we're not going to be coming back up again. Maybe we take a block down with us. And then just coming down to lying on our backs. Feet bent, feet planted. And we're going to start out with a bridge pose. So we'll make sure we have our feet hips width distance apart. Arms down by the sides. Ankles are roughly under the knees, maybe just slightly forwards. We're going to press down into the feet, press down into the backs of the arms, and then as we inhale, we'll curl the hips up off the mat, curl the spine up off the mat, seeing how high you can lift here. As we exhale, we'll lower back down. We're going to flow the first couple of times here. So as we inhale, we'll lift back up, curling the spine up off the mat. Exhale, lower, and we'll do 1 more of these. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And this next time, option to keep flowing, or we're gonna hold. So curling the hips up off the mat, pressing into the feet, pressing into the backs, the arms, rainbowing the hips up any amount more. Make sure you're hugging the inner thighs in and down. If you want to take a bind with the arms, we can roll one shoulder under and then the other. We can clasp the hands behind the back, and you can press backs of the arms into the mat, backs of the palms. Maybe we lift up any amount higher. And let's hold this. We'll hold this for 3, 2, 1, and then we'll begin to release, letting go of the bind first, slowly lowering the spine down, lowering the hips down, letting the knees roll in towards one another. And then from here, let's hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe we rock a little side to side if that feels good. And then from here, we're going to begin to rock onto the right side. So we're just going to keep the knees bent. Roll onto your right side here. You can help yourself down. And then we'll make a little pillow with the top arm to just rest the head on. And then from here, we're going to begin to just straighten the left leg. So just the top leg, straightening that left leg. And then we'll bend into the left knee, bringing the left heel behind. We're going to reach the left arm back. See if you can grab that left foot or ankle. You can keep the right knee bent here. And then we're just going to work towards drawing the left knee back, hugging the left heel in. We notice that left knee popping up towards the ceiling. We'll just gently draw that left leg down. And we're going to find maybe 2 more breaths here. 2 slow, deep, mindful breaths. And then let's begin to release that left leg. We'll just lengthen the left leg out. You can land the left leg down. And then we'll begin to roll onto our backs. We're going to plant the right foot, bend into the left knee, plant the left foot. And then this time we're just going to roll onto our left side with the knees bent. And I'm going to turn all the way on my mat just so I'm facing you guys. So knees are bent. We're going to make a little pillow with the bottom arm. And then from here, we'll begin to straighten the right leg out. Bend into the right knee, hugging that right heel in. And we're going to reach the right hand down, see if we can take a bind to that right foot or ankle. And then if we've got the bind, we're going to work towards reaching that right thigh back any amount, hugging that right heel in any amount. If we don't have the bind, we can still do this, just reaching hand back towards the foot. And we'll just take another couple of breaths. There's a little drawing in of that right shoulder blade. Keep hugging that right heel in. And then let's release. We'll begin to lengthen the right leg back out. And then from here, we can just begin to roll onto our backs. We're going to bend into the right knee, plant the right foot. And then from here, we'll heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat. And then tee the arms out to the side. And we'll take some gentle windshield wipers side to side. So both knees wove one way and then the other. We're going to flow side to side here. Any amount of movement, just observe, see how this is feeling in the hips, feeling in the low back. Maybe one more swish either side. Just release it out. And then we'll come back through center. And then from here, heel toe the feet back in towards one another. We'll bring the feet together, let the knees open wide. And you can adjust where your heels are if you want to wiggle them in a little bit closer. This is our Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound angle pose. And you can just leave the arms wide. Maybe you want to make goddess arms. You could bend into the elbows 90 degrees, bring the palms to face up. That could feel good. Observe the breath here. Just feel the breath flowing into the belly. Feel the belly rising and falling. And then let's begin to come out of this shape. We're going to slowly begin to lower the arms down. And then from here, let's help the legs up, but we're going to keep the feet together for the moment. So keep pressing the feet together. We're going to begin to lift the legs up. So we've got this bound angle pose, but we're lifted. And then from here, we'll reach the arms inside of the knees. We're going to lift the feet up. We're going to grab the outside edges of the feet or ankles, or we could just support behind the thighs here. And then we're going to reach soles of the feet up towards the ceiling as we draw the feet apart for our happy baby. So we've got these little bends in the knees here. Knees are hugging in towards the armpits. Soles of the feet are facing the ceiling. We can rock a little side to side, or you can just hold still here. And then from our happy baby, we'll begin to bring the feet back together. We'll bring the knees back together. Give yourself a hug here, squeezing the knees in. Maybe we take a few circles with the knees. You can keep the knees together. Begin to draw some little circles on the ceiling. We'll go one way. And then we can go the other way. Then we'll come to stillness. And then from here, let's settle both feet back down onto the mat. We're going to grab that block that we brought down with us. Take the block on the low wide setting. We're going to lift the hips up, scoot the block underneath. If you don't have a block, that's okay. We can do this with no block at all. I'll show, well, with the block, and then I can show without the block. So feet are planted. We're going to lift both feet up off the mat and straighten the legs up towards the ceiling for a supported legs up the wall. So we get this kind of L-shaped shape in the body. The hips are gently propped up with the block here. That takes a little work out of the abdominals, so the legs should feel almost weightless here. If we're doing it without the block, just a little bit more work in the abdominals. We're just going to scoop the belly button in towards the spine, and then we just float the feet up the same way. And then options when we're in our legs up the wall, we can hold still here. And we're just reaching the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, working towards straightening the legs. Maybe we take some little ankle circles. We could circle the ankles out one way and then the other. You can point and flex the feet. You can take just kind of some fun leg movements if you want to open and close the legs. You can take the legs forwards and back. These are all just options. Different days gonna call for different things. So we might want stillness, we might want movement. And we'll just be here for a little while longer. Just enjoying the effects of this inversion where we have the feet above the heart. That just gives a moment for the circulation to get a little helping hand out of the feet and the ankles. So we can help the blood out of the feet and ankles, which is great if you spent a lot of time on your feet and you tend to have swelling in the feet, or if you have varicose veins. This is just great for the circulation. It helps reverse things out, give a little helping hand. You might feel a lightening, a cooling feeling in the feet and legs. We'll just take one more breath here. Unless you would like to stay here a little while longer, you can always take as long as you need, and then just whenever you're ready, come into Shavasana. For now, I'm going to begin to lower the feet down. I'm going to prepare for Shavasana. So take any final movements here. We'll scoot the block out of the way. If we were on the block, you can take any movements that you need in your body. Add any layers. If you have socks you want to put on or a sweater, maybe you have a blanket or pillow you can put behind the head. Make sure that you're going to be comfortable. This is our final resting pose. It's the release at the end of our practice. You can keep your knees bent, maybe letting the knees roll in towards one another, or we stretch the legs out long, letting the feet land, maybe letting the feet roll open. Rest the arms, maybe a comfortable distance away from the body. Maybe we close the eyes and just settle in here, letting go of any tension, any tightness. Just let it all melt out. Maybe we take a big cleansing breath before we let go entirely, just taking in a big inhale through the nose and then open the mouth side out. That Shavasana. You can take as long as you would like in your Shavasana. The longer the better. If you'd like to stay here for 5 minutes or more, you can. And if you're ready to come out, we're going to start by wiggling our fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe making movements gradually larger and larger. Just building up, following whatever feels good for you. Maybe taking a long stretch if that would feel good. You can reach the arms overhead and just lengthen all the way out, top to bottom. And then whenever you're ready, just begin to make your way onto your side, whatever side's comfortable. We'll tuck up into the fetal position here and just take another breath. And then just slowly begin to press up to a seat. Take your time, find a comfortable seat, maybe keeping eyes closed. Just see if you can settle yourself in. Find a tall spine. And then from here, let's inhale, reach the arms around and up, palms meet in the middle. Exhale, lower the hands down through heart center. And we'll just take another inhale to lift the chest. Exhale, bow forward. Thank you for sharing in this practice with me. Namaste.